Thanks, Paul. Happy football season to everyone. It's great to be back with you, and obviously excited to kick off the 2021 campaign. It's been a fun camp. The guys have really grinded hard and are excited to be in game week. You're obviously playing an outstanding opponent. The Michigan State Spartans got great respect for Coach Tucker, and they played outstanding against us a year ago. And we know we're going to have our hands full on Friday night, but it'll be back. It'll be great to be back in Ryan Field. It'll be great to welcome our fans back, and just really can't stress enough how excited I am to get back to playing football. Our thoughts and prayers are with all those in Louisiana and all those that are affected by the hurricane. Incredibly challenging times for everyone down there, and we lift everyone up in our thoughts and prayers. So with that, how about any questions that I can answer for you?
First question for Ben Chasen.
I can't hear anything.
Hi, Coach. Can you hear me?
I got you, Ben.
Got it. Great. You've mentioned kind of in the past a little bit that Hunter has taken some steps forward and that you felt confident to name him a couple of weeks ago as starting QB. Were there any things that you look back in hindsight now that he did last year, kind of while he was in that backup role, potentially things he picked up from Peyton that you think have made the difference and made him ready for this role now?
Probably a really good question for Hunter when he gets on here, learning especially from Peyton a year ago and his experiences in 19. I just think he's more confident. I think he has a better understanding of what we're trying to do offensively and a great relationship with Mike Bajakian. And then he's executed at a very high level. So it's, I think, a combination of a lot of things, but directly what he learned last year, probably a really good question for him if and when he gets on here. Thanks.
Next question for Chris Solari.
Hey, Pat, good to see you. I guess from a game preparation standpoint against Michigan State, when you see, first of all, the amount of turnover they've had on that roster, I guess, how have you gone about preparing for particularly personnel and whatnot? And what's your kind of sentiment? You've obviously explored the transfer portal. I mean, have you ever seen, or do you think this is going to become the norm for college football?
Well, without knowing Coach Tucker's plan, I can't speak to all that. I think every head coach has got a plan how to best, maximize their roster. Yeah, we've had to overturn a lot of stones, bud. We've had to go find a lot of tape on a lot of guys in different schools just to kind of get a snapshot. Our quality control guys did a good job getting that all organized, and trying to project, where those young men will fit into the scheme, that Coach Tucker runs in all three phases. So, it's been a challenge. There's no doubt about that, but this isn't the first time we've had to deal with this. Maybe a coordinator change here or there, a new head coach, maybe a little bit different from a personnel standpoint. Do I think the transfer portal is here to stay in college football? Yeah, I do. I don't see that going backwards to what it used to be. But everybody's got to manage their roster the way they see fit.
As a follow, do you think that, when new coaches come in or when there's coaching changes like this, I mean, I think there's somewhere around 40 some guys that are changed. I mean, do you think that is going to continue elsewhere? Or do you think a lot of people will be kind of looking at this as an example of maybe whether to or not explore the portal like that?
Yeah, Chris, I think we're the great plagiarists of athletics, in football. So if it works, absolutely, people will emulate it. Especially like you said, I think that you hit the nail on the head with the coaching change, right? There's, one day a young man wakes up in the locker room and apples is the right thing to do, and the next day it's bananas, right? Because just the coaching change. So they may not fit anymore, and I think the transfer portal gives that young man an opportunity to go find a new home. As long as everything's happening for the right reasons and a young man wants to go find some more playing time or a better fit, I'm all for it. I'm 100% against coaches running guys off their rosters. I think there's got to be a compliance component to that. And, I think as that gets evaluated as we move forward, there's been talk about maybe some relief. If you lose a transfer, you get one more on top of the cap. I think that's got to be really evaluated before we give carte blanche to every coach. I just think that could be a Pandora's box.
Next question from Michael Fitzpatrick.
Hey, Coach, you mentioned in your opening statement Michigan State played really well last year against you guys. Is that something you play up a little bit leading in the game? Not necessarily a revenge game, but let the guys know, these guys got us last year. Let's get them back as an extra motivation thing.
Yeah, Fitz, I kind of like the halo look going on you right now, man. This is, I feel very holy. But yeah, it's, you look at the tape, you look at what we did and what they did, and you learn from it, you grow. And I thought our guys did a year ago, after watching that tape. We did not handle the road well. We did not execute well early, and they did a very nice job in all three phases. So, I think more it's a different team, especially from, the new guys that we have that maybe didn't play in that game a year ago. It's more just educating them on what it takes to win a Big Ten football game, and coming out the gate, it doesn't make it very easy. So with the youth that we have and then playing the opponent and the talent that they have, it's going to be a big challenge.
Next question for Miguel.
Hi, Coach. Have you had any difficulties in finding replacement for Rashawn Slater or Greg Newsome and Ernest Brown?
Yeah, Miguel, you can't replace those guys now, right? I mean, draft picks are irreplaceable, especially first rounders. But a year ago, you look at the way that our secondary played collectively as a unit, maybe the best that we've had in my time. Peter Skronsky stepping up as a true freshman, playing left tackle, and then to get Sam Duke Miller back, as a guy that was a projected starter a year ago at defensive end. I think a combination of all three of those things gives us great confidence at those positions with some spectacular players that we lost in Ernest and Rashawn and Greg.
Next question for Eric Rinson LaBelle.
It's a lot of new guys cycling at receiver, taking on bigger roles starting on Friday. How would you evaluate where that position group is as you start the season?
I like it a lot. I think that group is athletic. I think they're competitive. Dennis Springer's done a great job with our recruiting office, recruiting to that position. We'll be a little bit younger, but at the same time, I think every bit, if not more explosive than maybe we've been in the past. So I'm excited to watch that group compete. They're going to have their hands full with a talented, Spartan secondary. There's no doubt about that. But they'll be excited to go compete.
Next question for Drew Schott.
Hey, Coach, hope all is well. You're in the unique position from 2018 of starting with a Big Ten opponent before jumping into non-conference play. Kind of how much of starting with the Big Ten opponent does that change your approach of attacking the preseason, if any?
Yeah, Drew. I mean, obviously, it's a big blip on the radar during training camp, right? What's our why as we're working through everything? To have an opponent like a Big Ten team on the horizon in the opener, I think definitely adds that, when you're running that extra 60-yard dash, the motivation's definitely there. So I don't know if it changes anything per se, but it definitely is top of mind in your mindset of what your why is and what you're doing when you're getting prepared, especially in the grind of training camp, like it is for everybody.
Next question for Matt Wenzel.
Hey, Pat, you obviously named Hunter the starter recently. Mel has yet to name a starting QB. I was just kind of wondering kind of the different philosophies and how you view that, maybe to, you guys watch tape on two different guys versus naming the guy ahead of time and just knowing where you're going forward.
Yeah, Matt, I think, again, that's a coach by coach individual decision. I've done it all. I mean, I'm sure my fans have been mad at me when I waited until kickoff to let them know. And then I'm sure they're asking why I named a guy now a couple of weeks early, but that's fun for the fans. But I think as a coach, you got to do everything you can to help your team win. And if you feel like waiting until, the end of game week to announce that to the media, then that's the decision that I think, as a coach, maybe you play a little bit of fun with it. And you typically have always let your team know in advance. So I'm assuming Mel has already alerted his squad on who the starter is. And those guys know that, they're just not going to do it publicly. And yeah, you have to watch more tape as coaches, but we do anyways. We're pretty big losers. So that's about all we do anyways, is watch tape. So, you go back, you get the Temple video and, you study all that and try to get as prepared as you can. And, now this is my 16th opener. And if there's one thing I've learned, no matter what happens in your preparation, you need to get prepared to adjust. You don't have, the video understanding of how, a team is prepared in the off season and their new wrinkles and nuances, and then how have they prepared for you. So it's definitely a challenge in the opener. And, one that as a coach, I think you really look forward to because of the challenge.
Thanks, Pat.
Yeah, you bet. Travel safe over here.
Next question for Larry Snyder.
Hey, Fitz, as you just said, it's your 16th opener. When does your team over the past create their identity? Is that something that, because it changes every year, obviously, with guys leaving. Have they done that through camp? Is it something that happens 3 or 4 games in? What is your experience with that?
Yeah, Larry, I really hope it happens during winter work. It starts in winter workouts, when you get the new leaders starting to step up. I've used this analogy at the end of every season. It's a funeral and a birth all wrapped up into one, right? The 2020 team and that locker room down in Orlando, it was a funeral for our seniors and those that are no longer with us. And then kind of a birth of the 2021 team. And then you kind of go through the stages of life, right? And where you hope by the time you get to the season, you're somewhat middle-aged. And then it starts to go downhill quick. You get about 13 weeks to play 12 games guaranteed. So, I've looked at that lifespan of a team and each one is unique and different, but it really starts to manifest itself in winter workouts, then through spring ball, summer workouts, and then, that fourth quarter, so to speak, of preparation is training camp before the season. But I think maybe who you are and how your personnel is going to be used probably after the first month of the season, to your point.
Thanks, Coach.
Last question for Nate Atkins.
Hey, Pat, just curious, it's the first game in a while with fans back, and obviously you're going to have a lot of home fans, but you always get a decent amount of road fans in Big Ten games as well, just being, private school in Chicago. Just kind of curious as someone who's played there and coached there, just what it's like to kind of deal with just road fans when they do travel for Big Ten games, and if there's any memories that kind of stand out to you on that.
Yeah, Nate, I really enjoy when our Wildcat fans go fill up other stadiums. So, I enjoy that, singing a fight song with them after we win games. That's my best memory. Yeah, no doubt about that. But I think that's the pageantry of Big Ten football. I think you look forward to full buildings and exciting crowds. And, you just really enjoy it. And the most important thing I look forward to is winning games. So, like always, that's my joy. That's why you put all this work in, is to win football games, no matter where it is that you get to play. It was unique last year, being in empty venues, and then to get a chance to play in the Big Ten championship game in front of fans, and then get down to Orlando and play in the Citrus Bowl in front of fans was awesome. So I think for all of our players and coaches, we'll be excited to get our Big Ten venues back rocking.
All right, thanks.
I appreciate you, man. Thanks, everybody. Have a great week. Looking forward to Friday night. Thanks a lot. Go Cats.
First question for Ben Chase.
Hey, this question's for Hunter. Hunter, last year you were in that backup role behind Peyton Ramsey. Coach Fitz has kind of alluded to you having improved confidence, improved rapport with Mike Bajakian throughout the year. Were there any particular things you did last year that in hindsight you look back on now and think that really helped me grow and get to where I am today, ready to start against Michigan State?
I think last year was definitely an opportunity to get to learn, to kind of prepare for each game for when my number is called, but also learn from Peyton and learn from Coach Jake with the new system. So I definitely tried to just prepare last year for when my number was called last year or when it's called this year.
Next question for Drew Schott.
Hey, Hunter. Coach Bajakian last week spoke about how you're building rapport with the starting receiving core ahead of the season opening against Michigan State. Can you speak about what you've seen from your receivers and also kind of any players who are kind of showing improvement or kind of a skill set that you've been impressed with so far?
Yeah, I think our receivers have done a great job this camp. They've been working really, really hard. We've gotten a lot of really good reps in this camp to try to develop that chemistry and get our timing down. I really feel like it's been really picking up over the past week and a half, couple of weeks of camp here, and I'm just excited for that group. I think we've got some guys that are going to go out and make some plays and be explosive. Some guys that are really, really talented, and I'm just excited for them to see them go out and play ball.
Next question for Michael Fitzpatrick.
This one's for either you guys. Last year, you guys lost to Michigan State. Is that any extra motivation, revenge game kind of thing, any extra motivation to return the favor this year?
I think there's certainly a degree of that, but you prepare for them like you prepare for any other opponent. You're doing everything during the week that you need to be doing, watching film, preparing physically. But there's definitely a certain sour taste in our mouths from last year.
Yeah, I agree. I couldn't say any better.
Next question for Jack Savage.
Hey, Sam. This is for you. I was wondering, what challenges does Michigan State's defensive line bring to you guys?
They're a talented group. I think they are going to improve from last year like every team does. And I think they're going to come in and be physical. They have a good front seven and a lot of experience in that front seven. So we need to continue to mature as an offensive line and offense.
Next question for Chris Solari.
Hey, question is for Hunter. I wondered, you've obviously been through the transfer process and you've kind of experienced a lot of different things. What was it like to be named starting quarterback going into the year? And is there a difference knowing it, a week or so in advance versus maybe learning it the week of the game?
Yeah, I was definitely excited to hear that my number is going to get called to go out and play, to go out and start game one. But really, you just keep preparing week in and week out during the off season, during camp, during the season, just for whenever your number's called. And nothing really changed. I'm just trying to be ready for my team whenever that opportunity arises or whenever it comes about. But I'm just preparing. I felt confident that eventually my number would get called again, and then I'd be able to go out and play with my guys again. And I'm just excited for the opportunity, just because it's not guaranteed. And I'm just excited to go out and cut it loose and play ball again.
Great. Thanks, guys.
communications, and please address your question to the student athlete.
All right. First question for Ben Chase.
Yeah, Brandon, I'm wondering, obviously you're one of kind of considered the premier defensive players in the Big Ten Conference. Are there any other guys when you're watching film of other teams that just stand out to you on the defensive side and you'd like to kind of give a little bit of a shout out to?
Yeah, that's a great question. Just across the whole Big Ten, you got a lot of great defensive players. First people that come to mind are the Indiana DBs. I don't want to get their names wrong. Tywon Mullen, is that his name? I think that's his name. All right, yeah, he's really good. But whenever I look at other teams, I'm usually looking at the offense. So it's hard to really say more defensive guys, but I know he's a great corner at Indiana. Indiana has a lot of studs on defense. So, yeah.
Next question for Drew Schott.
Hey, Brandon. How much of it is an opportunity for Northwestern to be able to potentially start the season on a strong note against the Michigan State team that 9 months ago shocked you in East Lansing?
Exactly. No, it's a huge one, a huge opportunity for us to get this season started the exact way we wanted to. A lot of first games are like easy ones that are you just want to get a dub. But I think this being such a big game that we lost last year and being another Big Ten opponent, it's just a huge game for us to really get the season started the way we want and to get rolling into the season that we think we can have. So I think Michigan State's going to be a great one to open up with and a great test to see what this defense and what this team can do.
Next question for Michael Fitzpatrick.
What's up, Brandon? You said a couple weeks ago that you guys are going to come out with a vengeance since Michigan State kind of tripped you guys up last year. Is that still the plan? That's still fresh in your mind? Get them back on Friday?
Yeah, man, sure. I did not forget the fact that that's our one loss last year, and I don't think anyone on this team has. And just like every Big Ten opponent, we know what they are and the capabilities that they have, and so we're gonna attack it the same way we attack everyone. But I wasn't lying. There's still a vengeance there, and we still got some making up to do for that loss last year. But we're locked in. We're ready to go.
Next question for Lauren Withrow.
Hey, Brandon, what's standing out to you most about Michigan State's offense?
Yeah, they got a lot of weapons, skill positions. They got two really good receivers, and at number 1 and number 8, we know their weapons, they're deep threats. They are good route runners, and then they also got two really strong running backs. The transfer from Wake Forest, and then number 24, and then number 22. They got a lot of threats. So we know that they got some skill positions that are going to cause problems and that can create big plays. So those are what we're going to keep our emphasis on.
Next question for Jack Savage.
This is to either of you. I was wondering how excited you guys are to be back in front of fans, the Wildcat Nation. I know they're excited to see you. What does it mean to be playing in front of all your fans back again?
Yeah, no, it's obviously super, super exciting. I mean, that's what you grow up dreaming about, is playing in front of those packed stadiums, playing in Big Ten country with, the best fans in the world. And we're so excited to have them back. And that was obviously, that was unavoidable last year, missing those guys, looking up and seeing, the 100 people they allowed in the stadium. So we're really excited to get Ryan Field Rocket and go on the road and play at these other special places, because that's definitely part of what makes this experience so special.
Yeah, and I'm gonna echo what he said. Last year was my first year really playing, and I had no fans there, so it was kind of sad making plays, looking up to nobody. So I can't wait to have them back in Ryan Field, and I can't wait to go on these road games and see what type of potential these Big Ten opponents can give us with the fans. So I'm excited to play in these stadiums again and get it rocking.
Next question for Drew Schott.
Hey, Joe, I was wondering if you could tell me a little about what you've seen from the defensive line room, and also what it's like having Sam Duke Miller back after he opted out of the 2020 season.
Absolutely. I mean, I'll start by saying it's the best having Sam back. Sam, I'm lucky to call one of my best friends in the world. He's absolutely an unbelievable dude off the field, first and foremost. So having him back is unbelievable. And the camaraderie that comes with him has just permeated through the whole D line room. I mean, we got a really, really special crew there. And it's so cool. We were really tight last year. And then you get Sam back. And then you add guys like Jeremy Miser and my man Poole, these transfers coming in and just working their tails off and awesome, just being just like Sam, great dudes on and off the field. The camaraderie and the brotherhood is what is going to transfer. And, when it's 4th and short at Michigan State, which, we'll have that situation, you fall back on that brotherhood. You got to have guys that you trust and that you love. And there's a lot of love in that room. It's a really special room. And I'm really blessed to be a part of it.
Drew, go ahead.
This is for both of you. Coach O'Neill said, I think it was a few weeks ago, how his defense is 75% new and 25% of it is still Coach Hankwitz's scheme. I was wondering what you both have seen from Coach O'Neill's defense and any differences that stand out from Coach Hank.
I've answered this one a few times, just talking about the difference between Coach O'Neill's and Coach Hank's defense, and like they make very similar calls. 75-25 is a pretty good ratio for it, but like we cover 6 is cover 6 and cover 4 is cover 4. We're going to still make the same calls, and I think now it comes down to when is Coach O'Neill going to call man free, when is Coach O'Neill going to call a blitz. Like, it's going to be timing and how he approaches the game. So once we get into the game, we'll see what type of tendencies he has and when he likes to run certain coverages and certain blitzes. But in terms of the actual playbook, they're pretty similar. Might have a few more blitzes in there if we're going to say anything different about it.
Yeah, the only thing I'd add is, I think everyone's got to understand that every single coordinator at every single team is going to have their guys in what they think is the best position to win. It comes down to the dudes who are doing it and the one-on-one battles all throughout the field. It's a competitive game, and ultimately it's the Jacks and the Joes, not the X's and O's, the old cliche, but it's going to come down to the battles, and that's what we're excited to do. We're not too caught up in the scheme. We're excited to play ball.
Next question for Ben Chasen.
Yeah, this one's for Joe. Joe, you're kind of one of the elder statesmen of this defense. And I'm wondering, kind of being one of the older guys, looking at some of the younger guys who have not played yet, who are people you really expect to stand out after seeing what they've done in training camp this year that most Wildcat fans might not be familiar with yet?
Yeah, I mean, that's tough because I'm really excited about everyone on our defense, from the 1s to the 2s to the 3s to the 4s. We got some 4-string guys that are still grinding and working just as hard. The first guys that pop in my head are dudes in the defensive line room. I think of a guy like T-Raw Edwards, who got some limited snaps last year and has just been popping off the tape endlessly this camp. A dude like him is just working his tail off. Devin O'Rourke, guys that come to my mind are the dudes in the D-line room first and foremost. And then obviously everyone knows that Pete McIntyre is going to be getting his first, significant time on defense. He's obviously been just a killer on special teams these past 4 years. And he's got awesome experience, but that's another dude I just can't wait to see cut it loose. He's just such a good guy and works so hard. I'm really excited to see that hard work come to fruition.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Appreciate y'all.
Question for Drew Schott.
Hey, Chris, in the spring, you spoke about this linebacking core being the firm 2.0. I was just wondering throughout camp what you've seen from them and players who have impressed you, and also what this means for you to be thrust into a larger leadership role for the upcoming season.
That's a great question. Throughout camp, I've just seen a lot of growth and a lot of learning and a lot of opportunities to learn and grow through every rep and opportunity that each guy got. And these reps and these workouts and this whole time has been quintessential for us as a unit to not only grow in chemistry, but to grow in like our understanding of this Jim O'Neill defense, which has been just an awesome experience. And Pete McIntyre, Khalid Jones, Bryce Gallagher have all done a fantastic job. I've seen a lot of growth from our young guys learning and growing into the framework of our defense. So as a whole, this unit's come a long way in a short amount of time. And for me, in a leadership perspective, it hasn't really been like that, to be honest, because they've had so much accountability and maturity by themselves that I haven't really needed to do anything extra. And that's made my job easier, their job easier, and we've all gotten to grow together, which is really important.
Next question for Lauren Withrow.
Hey, Chris. Okay, so I was watching Good Clean American Fun, and it seemed like a theme, especially with the older players, was this idea of you guys not being respected, being left out of preseason polls, things like that. Do you want to be respected, or do you think that having a chip on your shoulder and the underdog mentality is something that really fuels y'all?
Well, respect is earned, and us having the least amount of returning production in college football, we haven't earned respect. And it's as simple as that. Last year's team, we earned it. This year's team, we're going to earn it. So am I surprised? No. Do I think we should have it? No. Do I think we're going to earn it? Yes. So we're excited for the opportunity.
Next question for Ben Chasen.
Yeah, kind of on a similar token, back in March when we talked to you, you said, and I quote, "We have everything we need to win the Big Ten." Do you stand by that all these months later as you guys are getting prepared to kick off the Big Ten season on Friday?
Wholeheartedly, and then some. But like I said, words mean nothing. It's all going to come down to how we play and how we execute come Friday night and every Saturday after that. So time will tell, but I feel like we have every piece we need. We have the best coaching staff in the country, so away we go.
All right. Thanks, Chris.
Appreciate you guys.
That's a great answer.
All right, everybody. Thanks for your patience today. We appreciate it.